So, like the title says, we're going to make a custom IG story. Without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so before we get started, there's a couple of things that we do need to take care of. The majority of stuff that you're going to be working on within DaVinci Resolve is probably wide, like a 16:9. But since the IG stories are tall, we have to switch around the resolution a little bit. So let me show you how to do that first. So the first thing we're going to do is come down to our little gear. And here is our resolution in the master settings. We're just going to be switching these two because it actually just needs to be, before it's 16:9, but now we need to make it 9:16. So we'll just take these two and switch them. So the first one we'll just put in 1080, and then this one we'll put in 1920. And my project's set up for 30 frames. I brought the image in already, so that's why this is already locked. 30 frames perfectly fine. And then we'll save that. There's one other setting that we'll have to change, but first I want to show you why we have to change that. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a Fusion comp. IG stories are only allowed to be a maximum of 15 seconds, so I'll just put my duration here of 15 seconds. And then I'll bring that down into the timeline. The next thing that we need to adjust is we need to fix how DaVinci Resolve itself deals with images. And because we have this image brought in through DaVinci Resolve first manipulates it in its own file system and then passes that information to Fusion. So there's a weird thing that happens. So let me show you. So if I bring this image into here, we see that this image fills the screen, meaning that DaVinci Resolve scales it so that we see the whole image. And doesn't matter the resolution, we'll see it all in the current timeline settings, right? Majority of stuff that's perfectly fine. Like if you're working on a timeline that is 1080 and you bring 720, or if you bring 4K, it'll all scale to fit the frame properly, right? So that's a good thing. But the weird thing that happens is when we have a Fusion comp and then we go into Fusion, and let's say we would bring that image in, what you'll see is it has the resolution up here because Fusion saying, hey, what is the resolution for this image? It gets the resolution, but then DaVinci Resolve says, hey, I have scaling on that image so it properly fits on the timeline. So it scales it down to fit that resolution, which isn't really what we want. We would like this to be the full resolution because right now, if I was to scale this, I'm actually going to be like losing because currently it's compressed and then, yeah. So to fix this, what we actually need to do is tell DaVinci not to do anything with the image. So coming back over here, we're going to go into image scaling and then down here, input scale. And we're going to change this to center crop, no resizing. So this is just going to center it with no resizing. And then as you can see here, we have our image resolution and it's here. Now, if we were to go now and take a look at this image, obviously it's significantly bigger and it doesn't fit the proportions correctly, but it will work a lot better on the Fusion side of things. So we're going to just keep it that way. Okay, so here is our image. Whoops, media in. We'll put this over here. Here is our image. The first thing that I want to do is I want to size this up to fit in our project. And the easiest way to do that is just to bring a background in. And we're going to lay this media in on the background. And the background itself, by default, has auto resolution, which is going to be the resolution of your project. And then that is going to dictate the resolution for this merge. And then we're just going to lay this image on top because if we look at this here, this is a foreground image. So we're just laying that on top of whatever our background is. And we're taking the resolution from our background. So now this is what we currently have. So we're just going to scale this down to fit in here. And I'm just going to get, the spacing here to her feet. Going to be kind of the same. So something like that. All right. So the next thing, now we have to start to add some animations to make this look good. And I think the first thing I'm going to do is add a little line around the outside and then potentially animate that. So I'm just going to bring in another background, but I'm also going to turn on arrange to grid and then just quickly clean up the thing. So now everything will just snap to the grid, make it a little cleaner. All right, so we're just gonna make this background here white. We'll lay it on top of everything and view it here. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to bring in a rectangle mask, connect that up to our background in the rectangle mask, turn off solid, and now I'm just going to take these little controls here. You can see these green controls, and I'm just going to resize this mask to be right on the outside edges like that. And then we're going to take the border width and we're going to increase that just a little bit. So there we go. Now we have a border around the outside. I'm going to just set up everything first, figure out how everything looks, and then we'll come back and animate everything. I'm going to add in a little box, which is going to have all of our information for this sale, for this IG story. So here we go. We'll make this white as well. We'll lay it on top of everything we currently have. Let's view that. Bring in a rectangle. Lay that on this. And then I'll just resize this. So something like that. That looks like it's probably enough space. Okay, and then I'm just going to close this stuff. I'm going to now add in some text. Lay the text over everything, just like that. Let's change the text color to black. And we will make this starts today. And bring that up to the top. And each piece is going to have a different animation. So you could bring everything in with one text node and do character level styling to change up how the characters look and the fonts that are used. But because I'm going to be adding different animations to each set of words, I'm just going to bring them in as separate text tools. So I'm going to bring this in, we'll view it, and then in here I'm going to put in seasonal. And we will make this black as well. Let's view that and maybe change the font up on this one. Okay. And one more. And let's connect this up. And we'll make this sale. Whoops. Make that sale. Let's just have it black for now. And change the font of this. There we go. All right, and I think I'm going to actually cut this out, but because how everything is currently set up, everything's just layered on top of each other, and I don't have a layer underneath, I'm going to just view what we have. So I'm just going to take all of this here. I'm just going to move it up. And what we're actually going to do is have all of this stuff connect after here. So that when I cut, when I cut out, let's bring this over to here. So when I cut out this here, there's an image underneath to actually view. So to do that, I'm going to grab a Boolean and I'm going to connect this over to here and this to here. And we'll get rid of this merge and we'll just connect this down just like that. And here we're going to change this to subtract, and I can just change this to white to make it easy. There we go. All right, so now we have a cutout for the sale. I have to add in like a little area for the sale code, I guess. So I'm just going to grab another text. I'm going to connect the text down here just so it adds another merge. All right, and then let's make it code 99, sure. Make this black for now. Increase this. And I think I actually want to cut out a little square on here. So I'm just going to add another rectangle right in here. And on this rectangle, I think I'm going to switch it up. So bring it down, but then turn this rectangle to subtract. So it subtracts this. I need to bring it down a little bit, just so we have a little bit more space. Bring this down as well and change this to white maybe. There we go. Okay, that's looking a bit better. And then I know if you're over, I think it's 10,000 followers, you can do like a swipe up thing. So let's do that. Swipe up. And let's change the color of this. Just grab that. And we will connect this here to the end. And where are we with this? Bring this down. There we go. Alright. And let's change the font on this as well. Alright. And that's looking kind of plain. So I think I'm going to add a little bit more to this. I think I'm actually going to grab that same color. So I'm just going to click in here, grab the code down there. Here, paste that code so I have the same exact color. Add a rectangle to this, and then I'm going to add this onto here. So this is almost like a little group of thing that we have going here. And I'm going to get rid of that, bring this box down, zoom in a little bit. I don't know how wide to make that, but the height definitely needs to come down. Something like that, and add a little bit of a border. There we go. Alright, so that looks like it's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with how that's looking. Now we just need to go through and animate everything. Alright, so the first thing I think I'm going to animate is this line around the outside here. And I think I'm going to add a path so it goes around with it. So to do that, I'm just going to type in, I'm going to hit Shift and then spacebar. And then in this tool, I'm just going to type in paint and get the mask paint. And we'll just connect that up to here. And then in this mask paint, I will click this to get the polyline. Let's zoom this out a little bit. And I'm just going to go around to all four corners here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Once I'm at the fourth one, I can click this button here to close it. And then once we have that done, I'm going to come down to this rectangle here and turn this to multiply. And what multiply does is, let's say we have a line here and we have a line here. Wherever they overlap, that's what's going to be visible. So if I was to look at these on separate screens and I take this mask paint, now let's come into the brush, we make the brush really big, so this is the brush. If we look over here, it's still nice, a clean line, right? But if I turn down this, you can see that this is really small, so then it's only displayed over there, really small. So what I would do here is just increase this enough so that like around the corners here, so if I turn this down around the corners, it gets kind of soft. I might not want that. So I want those nice crisp edges. So there we go. And then because it's a stroke, what we can do is we can do this right on. So we can have it like go around, like whip around like that. So that's the animation that we're going to be doing. So let's view this again. All right, and then we're going to come to, let's start at frame 10 and I'll bring this. All right, so let's come to frame 10 and I'll bring this all the way down and we'll just keyframe down there. And then let's do 25 frames, sure. And we'll bring this all the way up. And let's go into the spline. This is just a little extra. You can do this, you don't have to. I'm going to view these and I'm just going to ease the end. So because they're both on the same tool, you get keyframes for the start and the end. So if I was to change the start point, that would change the keyframe, but we're not going to change its start point. We're going to leave it where it's at. So the end is the only thing that's really moving throughout this animation. So I'm just going to add a little ease into this, and to do that you're just going to highlight, hit F. If you want to change it even more, you can hit T, and then you get these the ease in. You would be able to change because we're easing into that keyframe. If it'd be coming this way, it'd be easing out of that keyframe. Okay, so now that we did that, I can close that for now. And so now throughout this, it goes around. Awesome. And then let's have maybe like right here, we can start to have this box appear. So let's view everything currently. We're going to get to the rest of the stuff, but we're just doing one thing at a time. So it's going to look a little funky here at the start. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the position of it. So I think I'm going to have it start here. So I'm just going to add a keyframe. We'll have to come back for the movement here. But then I think I'm going to have it end here at 50. I'm going to go back to that first keyframe and just drag it down. And then the other thing I think I'm going to do is come in a couple of keyframes, and I'm going to keyframe this level, which is going to state like how visible it is. So we'll just drop this down. So it's going to come in as it's moving. It's going to get brighter. So it's going to be like, it's not going to play very well. Okay, so now we have that coming in. All right, and then I'll come back to this box because that's all going to be an animation together. The next we have this little bit here. So I just have to make sure that this box is there by the time that gets. So we could start it here at, I guess, frame 50. We'll have it start. And for this, I think I'm going to do a follower. And I'm going to do it character based. So each character follows the animation of the other character after it. So we're just going to right click in here, follower, and that is a modifier. You can set how much of a delay from one's animation to when the next character starts doing that animation as well. I'm just going to set 1 frame, and then I'm going to go over to the shading, which is the actual color, and I'm going to come down to position, and now we're going to offset those positions. So I'm just going to set a keyframe here. That's just where I want the animation to start. Let's go back down, and then I think I'm going to have it end like 15 frames or something. Or no. I'm going to have a keyframe here. 15, and then like another 5 or whatever, and this middle one I'm actually going to have it go up. Oops, that's a little too much. So have it go up, and then this lower one here I'm gonna have it start way down. So if we watch this, it goes up and then it comes back down and it settles, right? Looks great. The only thing that doesn't look great is it's starting here and it still being visible. So to fix this, I'm just going to add in a rectangle, add the rectangle there, and this is just going to be the boundaries where it's actually visible. So I'm just going to set it, so we're at the keyframe where it starts at, so I'm just going to have it right out of the boundaries. So it's right out of the boundaries. So as we start to come in and then it comes in, it settles, and it's settling higher than the boundary. So that's how we're going to do that reveal. Okay. The only other thing is in the text, I'm going to just, all right, so we're starting to get a lot of keyframes here. I'm just going to come over here, show only selected tool. So whatever you have selected over here, it's only going to show those keyframes. And I'm just going to add in like a little easing on these. So just highlight them, hit F. It's actually flattened, but yeah, same difference. Okay, so now those will be nice and smooth animations. So then the next one we have is the seasonal. And for this one, I'm just going to have it just come up. That's it. And yeah, so let's drop this down. Here we have the position. Let's see, where's our other animation kind of like end? So let's have it like right here, I guess. Set the keyframe there. Come up a bit. Something like that. And come back to this keyframe and we will drop it down. And then the other thing that we can do alongside of that, come over into shading the alpha. I'm just going to keyframe here and keyframe here, and then just come back to the first one and turn the alpha down so it comes up like that. I'm also going to add a little bit of like on the purple one here. I don't want to affect that one. And here I'm just going to add a little easing into that so it comes up and slows down a little bit. All right. Okay, so the next one we have is the sail. And I think I'm going to have it just move from over here into here, but do some like weird stuff as well. So I'm just going to set up the boundaries. Let's do something like that, sure. And then in here, let's see, what could we do? Well, we could have it move from right to left. So let's give that a shot. So how are we looking? So this is kind of like right here. So I want everything to be kind of like moving together. So I'll keyframe that and I'll come in a little bit. So you have to just remember I'm on 30 frames per second. So every 30 frames is 1 second. So that's how I'm kind of setting up like this timing. So I'm thinking, okay, a half a second, a little bit more than a half a second. So that's how I'm going about that. I'm just not, picking random numbers. And the more and more you do it, the better and better you get, to be honest with you. And I'll set a keyframe here. So the idea here is we're going to have it come over, right, off screen, and then it comes over. And I think what I'm going to do for this one is have it move quick. Have it move quick at the start and come over. And then we're also going to change the spacing on the characters as well. So first, let me set this up, and I'm going to turn that really high. So it's kind of like off screen, and then it comes really quick and it settles. But then I think like right here, I'm going to also change, I think it's over here, the tracking so that they are all together. So it comes over it and then it goes whoosh. So I don't know, something like that. I know you like my awesome sound effects too. So where are they all on top of each other? Something like that. I'll keyframe that and then maybe just come over just a little bit. And then I'll have it go back to 1. And then I can also set up a little bit of that there as well. So come over. I think that'll happen like real quick. All right, so we'll just take that and turn that up quick. All right, so that is the sail. And then the next thing that we have to do is the code. So for the code, I think the code, we're just going to just have it be revealed by this. So it'll be like code, right? So I don't know, there it was. So let's come back a little bit and maybe like here, we'll keyframe the width, come up a little bit, go like that, come back to the beginning, have this go to 0. And the other thing that we want to do is on this, I'll do it on this merge here, is because this is going down and it's not visible, we need to hide this so we don't see it up until the point where this happens here. So what I'm going to do is on this merge, I'm just going to set the blend here, go back 1 frame and make it 0. So what happens when we come back to here, you won't actually see that. And then this 1 frame, you won't see it because it's the same color, obviously, but then afterwards it reveals that code. All right. Then finally, we have this swipe up. So for that, I just need to add in some type of an animation here. I think that I am going to copy this rectangle here, and I'm going to paste the rectangle here as well, just so I have the same settings. And I'm just going to go into solid, and I take that away just so it's in the boundaries. So I'm going to do the right on where it goes around the box as well for this, and then I'm going to have the text move up from this bottom line here. So to do this, I'm going to shift spacebar, paint, get the mask paint, drop that down, and we will come into here. We'll get a polyline, go around all four corners like that, close it, and let's see where our other animations are happening. This one is kind of ending like right here, so that's what we'll start. Come down to stroke, select, and let's just come in a couple of frames, keyframe that, come back to the beginning, have it do that's right on. Oh, and then the other thing we have to do is in this rectangle here, we just have to make sure that we're on multiply so that they're overlapped on top of each other. And then halfway through, I actually want to change this a little bit. I think that this outside line is a little big. You can see it dipping down here a little bit. Just going to back that off just a little bit. Actually, just raise this. There we go. I think that won't be noticeable. All right, and then the other thing here is when this is about halfway through, at least when the bottom line is created, so like right there, is when I'm going to start the animation for this text. So I'll come over here to its position. I'll just keyframe where I want it to start, and then maybe have that be a little longer. Keyframe there, come back to here, and then we'll have it go down. And we can also set up a little easing. Perfect. There you go. That's relatively simple. You can always add more stuff to it. You could add in some like little accents to bounce around in here. It could start to become a little too cluttered if you add a little too much in there, but it's definitely a good starting point. I was thinking of making a pack in this, but I'm not exactly sure if I want to or not. Like I said at the beginning, this file will be available for you to download if you are a member of the channel. You can click that button if you're interested in supporting me or if you just want it for this file. But yeah, that's kind of how we would do that. The final thing that we would do is we just have to make sure that this end merge goes to the media out. Once it goes to the media out, it then gets passed back to the timeline. And then once you come over here, and you can see it here, all you would have to do is just go to the deliver page and render it out. Yeah, I don't really think I like how slow this comes up, so I'm gonna quickly change that quick. Just go back over into Fusion, and that is up here. That's this text here. I'm just going to bring in this keyframe a little bit, so I'm just going to click on it. I'm going to hold down Shift and slide it over. I think that's fine. I'm going to go out just a little bit and then turn easing up just so it reveals itself a little quicker. There we go. So yeah, there we go. I think that looks a little bit better, especially the swipe up animation that comes up. I think that kind of covers it for this one. And once you've made one of these and you like how it looks, you could simply just switch out the image, change a little bit of the text, and then you could just keep reusing whatever the graphic is that you made for other clients or other sales that you have or whatever it is that you're promoting. But yeah, if you have any questions about DaVinci Resolve, I do have a Facebook group that you can join. I have a link down in the description about that. But without further ado, my name's JR, and thanks for watching.